This mouse works perfect any other time. Wow, this mouse. Okay. Okay.
Okay, calling to order Planning and Zoning Commission Monday, January 5th, 2026. It is currently 5:31. And if the commissioners would look over give approval of the minutes from last month on December 15th. Then I'll need a first and second. Roll first. I'll second. Wimberly second. All in favor? Aye. At this time, we'll open the public hearing at 5:33 for public hearing. Is there anyone to speak?
Yes, we have Ken Taylor.
Taylor.
Well, as you know, or remember last week or last,
Ken, would you state your name and address?
Okay.
For the record.
Ken Taylor, 2 Friar Tuck Street, Breckenridge, 76424. From the last meeting, I expressed the concern of the area that's currently has a lot of our mobile homes in the area that were going to be possibly rezoned to residential housing and eliminated in the proposed new planning and zoning map. I brought that to the attention that it might be something to look at it, that, you know, what's the main reason to do that? Is it something in our current situation, our economic situation, those are a lot of affordable housing locations, and by eliminating them, you possibly take that out of the possibility that someone could bring something in there and be able to afford living. The amount of the area that was being proposed to the new one just drastically changed what currently is being used. And I just voiced my opinion to said that maybe it should be looked at. In looking at the options that were presented on the maps, I believe option 3 meets the current needs or current uses and the current future needs. That map pretty much correlates to the density map that is in that was on that map program, and I believe in the comprehensive plan that was created for the city. So in my opinion, option 3 may be the best to continue to be where it is, allows the current situation or the current options for potential mobile homes in that area to stay the same, as well as I believe residential housing could be built in there. Is it eliminated, or if somebody wants to build a house in that area, can they build it?
Well, I mean, right now it's just, I'm sorry, we'll answer that question after the.
Okay. That's all I wanted for them.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you, Ken. Want to close the public hearing unless there's somebody else to speak?
There's no issues.
Okay. Close the public hearing at 5:34. Okay, Cynthia, you want to speak about that?
Yeah, thank you, Chairman Sparks. So, yeah, picking up on where you left off on the last meeting, you guys wanted more information, and you wanted to compare what the sum acreage was, and what some options were to address some concerns near here, or certainly that were expressed. So what Caitlin did is she went back, and we sent this out to you, and I did share it with Ken as well. She created, if you go if you go to option one. So just as a reminder, existing right now is about 2.45%.
That is the current rate before option one.
I'm sorry, it's 4.37%.
I was gonna say.
4.37% is what is
It's
existing.
currently.
And what was proposed in option one, you will see, and that was the original draft proposal that staff presented. It did go down from 4.37, I believe, to, yeah, that's like there, to 2.45. Okay, and then option two, expands it a little bit from existing, from 5.88. And then option three expands it, I mean, more than doubles it at 9.73. Now, if you'll go to, back to that map and go to the comprehensive map that was also in this map, this one, the heat density map,
The very
That's
last.
actually
last tab,
next one.
last tab,
Okay, I'm trying to get to it.
I know.
Here.
Back
Figure
now,
out where it's at. How to get over
I'm
there.
curious, maybe they want cheese.
It's right under.
Huh?
Right under, right there.
That, oh.
Okay, so this is the heat map, and this was presented to you all, it can get smaller.
Yeah.
And, and do you want me to run them out?
Yeah, here. That mouse is being weird over here, so why?
So this was presented in the comprehensive development plan, and this is in the comprehensive development plan. So we have the heat map for existing mobile home, the heat map for commercial, I believe. Anyway, so that is where they're existing. And if you do kind of zoom in on the bigger blob, if you will, when you zoom in, I mean, so one of the things, points I was making in the current, what we're trying to do, best practice is having like uses with like uses. So right now, we've got R4, right, Christie, that allows single family and mobile homes. So we're trying to purify the classifications and just make it mobile home, right? And so that's where you can see on that heat map where they're actually at. And then just as a reminder, those colors on that heat map indicate the condition. So the green ones are in okay condition, they're standard condition. And then
Blue is deteriorated and red is dilapidated.
and dilapidated is, those are really the candidates for our current effort to identify properties to clean up, to get the homeowners to clean them up. or declare them substandard, dangerous buildings. And then you can't see it on this map very well, but a lot of them have black dots in them as well. And so you can't on this map, you see it better, but the ones that have black dots, whether they're red, most of them are red, but some of them are blue. I thought some of them, those are the vacant ones.
So this one here, this one. This
If
one.
they've got a dot in there,
One.
they're vacant.
I do have a question.
Yeah.
On
Well, before, sorry, I want to turn her over her. So all I was just trying to do is set the stage review from what we did last week and what she's gonna talk to about today, but just kind of lay out those options. Today, if you remember last week, we talked about, we were gonna go directly to city council tomorrow. We're kind of just taking a step back on that. So we will, tonight, there's no action. I mean, we would like to, hopefully kind of see where you guys want to go. But we'll have another public hearing, ample opportunity for people to come out. And then in February, and then February 2nd, and then February 3rd, it would go to the city commission for them then to take action.
Okay.
So there's a lot of questions last week. I do think that this information Caitlin put together answered a lot of the questions for you all, but Now, I just want to turn it over to Caitlin, and if you want to ask that question, I mean.
Yes, Caitlin, because I think she said it incorrectly, because option 2 is at 4.37%. What is the current before any of these
So
is not?
I'm gonna start from the very beginning. So on the map that I showed right now, this is the zoning map that y'all have currently. So this is not what is on the ground. This is just y'all's current zoning. We have 17.5% in R4, which if y'all remember, R4 allows for both manufactured and single family homes and.
So there's no way to tell.
So there's no way to tell. Now, on the existing land use, when we came out back in 2021, 2022, and we mapped every single one of y'all's parcels, we got 4.37%. So that is what was on the ground when we came out and did our study in the comprehensive plan, how much of y'all's land was being used for manufactured home purposes. In option 1 that we brought to y'all back in December, we were looking at 2.455%, so about cutting your current percentage in half. The thought of this was, as I said, y'all's current zoning allows for both. So when we say cutting in half, it's really just taking your R4, what is allowed for manufactured, what was allowed for single homes, and putting the manufactured portion on the map. So that's where we get that 2.455%. Option 2 that we created from y'all's discussions in December puts us at 5.88%, so a little bit above what y'all have in y'all's existing land use map. This option expanded this district in the northwestern portion of the city, and we also added a portion right here in the eastern portion.
In the southeast.
And the southeast, yes, sir, we expanded the southeast out a little bit more as well. And then option 3, you will see we expanded even more. So this portion got even larger. This portion got larger. And similarly, the southeast and the very south we added in, and this bumped up the percentage to 9.73. So all of that, and then you can look at the dot density map of where y'all's manufactured homes currently reside. And that's kind of what we did to take all the questions y'all asked us last week to show y'all what the different options would look like, how that would come to play when you're actually talking acreage within the city limits and availability of those. Yes, sir.
Is every dot represent a manufactured home?
Yes, sir. That is correct. And to answer a question that was brought up during the public hearing, the way y'all's use tables are currently written, a manufactured home that is to HUD code would only be permitted within agricultural and manufactured home areas. So that means if y'all went with option 1, 2, or 3, the only place a manufactured home could go would be within the regions designated for manufactured homes. And that means that also no single family homes would be allowed in that area. It would just be manufactured. So that's where it differs.
Legal, non-conforming.
They would be, yes, they'd be legal non-conforming as the very long discussion we had last week, but there would be no more new brought into that area. No more zoning changes allowing for new manufactured homes to be brought in there unless it is already marked with that old zoning or if there was already one on the property.
I think the other point, just to make sure that we highlight and help people understand. I mean, legal non-conforming, I think most of you all are getting, familiar with that term and what that means. But really also, with manufactured homes is a little bit different. And I'd say the wild card, but if
Yeah.
you understand it a little bit
So
different. Like that.
We discussed this a little bit last week, but I wanted to go a little bit more in depth to help everybody be on the same knowledge level when it comes to manufactured homes. So legal non-conforming means you can keep your house on that piece of property unless you change up to a certain percentage of the appraised value. At that point, you have to conform to the new zoning that has been adopted. So that means anybody under the old zoning, you get to stay, no hardship to you unless you choose to change your property of your value, the appraisal value of your property by a certain percentage. Then you'll move into what we will be calling the 2026 zoning ordinance that we're looking at today. Manufactured homes fall a little bit differently because if you took a manufactured home off of a property and put a new one on the property, well, you're changing 100% of your appraisal value. Well, it's not seen like that through the state whenever you're going through this process. So manufactured homes can be legal non-conforming up to one change of a manufactured home on that property. So say I own a piece of property, I have a manufactured home on it today. 10 years down the line, I can choose to go ahead, swap it out. That is still within my non-conforming rights to do so. And then only come that point, would I then, if I wanted to switch again, would I have to go into the new zoning ordinance? So manufactured homes already have an added buffer to them to allow for availability, feasibility, affordability, all those lovely things to ensure that we're not encroaching on somebody's personal rights on that piece of property.
So what that looks like then is, I mean, say a mobile home, lasts in a good condition, pretty good condition for 20 years. So you have meaning the landscape of availability for housing for mobile homes won't change substantially for probably at least 20 years. Because if people are going to update and move a new one in there, they get that one opportunity to do so. That extends that 20 years. And that's wherever they're located.
Yeah.
Just keep that in mind.
Yeah,
'Cause there are
would be
some
the
there,
old zoning.
even though option 3 is pretty close to where they're existing. Just where, if you look at the heat map, I mean, that's pretty close to option 3, I think. But again, just wherever they're located, they're still legal non-conforming. So the landscape of Breckenridge really conceivably won't be changing a ton for many years.
And what I like to remind people, which I said this last time I was here, but just to reiterate it, zoning is a process that takes time. Most of us will not see a zoning map come to fruition within our lifetime. That's not how zoning works. Zoning is a tool that is meant to be incremented in small steps to change the look of a city over time. That is what y'all's previous zoning ordinance did, as we can put y'all's previous zoning compared to y'all's existing land use and see that there are a lot of similarities. But as Cynthia mentioned, the lifespan of this is gonna be 20, 30 years before maybe we start to see some change in some areas. So I definitely don't want y'all to think that there would be any hardships today, but it is always important to think of long-term, is this what we want for the city? What does the vision of Breckenridge look like? Think back to the Breckenridge's mission statement, what was incorporated into the comprehensive plan, a lot of those efforts that your city's been going through. And that's kind of how you make your decision moving into zoning. Yes, sir, go for it.
What if a natural disaster hits and destroys a home, a manufactured home in that area, and then they have to get a new one and to replace it? Does that count for their?
Their one replacement.
That does count.
Yes, sir. So there is what is considered an act of God addition that we can add to y'all's ordinance. That would pretty much state that if the city had to declare a natural disaster, go through the disaster declaration through the state or anything like that, there could be an opportunity in which those property owners could come forth to have that waived for themselves. However, most cities would consider that, nope, that's your one replacement. We move ahead and continue with our zoning map as we do. Yeah, I was gonna say that's how it's done. Yeah, that's how it's done. But there is options and way we can add legal text in there. That as long as the attorney approves, can be used in situations of that case.
17 point. Was it?
17 point.
Is that the R4?
R4, 17.596.
That's including homes too.
Yes, that's including your single family home and your manufactured home. Yeah.
Can I make a point? You can do the math. You can figure it out. So if you take from the heat map on what the percentage of the mobile homes, subtract that number from the R4 and you get what's mobile home versus what's residential R4.
And we can do more of that math if that's what y'all request. We have in where's y'all's presentation?
Because originally, last month, you proposed the first option, that was our option.
No, that was the option that was being brought by the city for y'all's comment.
Okay.
That there was never that was y'all's only option.
Okay.
That was just the one that the city staff had created to bring to y'all. At that point, it was.
What
for
I
y'all to
meant
make
is that's what
comment.
we saw.
That is what y'all saw.
Okay.
Yes, sir. That is correct. So we, as he mentioned, we have the heat map showing y'all's percentage of single family versus manufactured, that we can go in and do that math as well if that's requested. And bring that to y'all next month. It was just not reflected last month, so we didn't, that was not a portion that we did to try to get it turned around to y'all as fast as possible. But this is what y'all's single family map, heat map density looks like right here, if y'all are wondering. And then we can come back to here for y'all's manufactured home density.
Are there comments or questions?
Well, there's a lot of thought to this.
There is
There's a lot of
zoning,
thought to this, and the numbers are not adding up for me, and so I'm just trying to figure them out.
yeah, ask me whatever, I would be more than happy to.
Well, the 17 versus the 4.37 and all that stuff, so.
17.30, I'll get it down.
This one.
Yeah, that, you're mixing apples and oranges when you mix the 17 because it includes
Single
single
family.
family.
Because it looks like, boy, you're really cutting it when you use the 17, but that's not really mobile homes. That's a mixture.
No,
of
yeah,
both.
that's-
Yeah, so if you look, so a good way to describe that, that's what's getting some of y'all stuck up. Look at where this light brown is on this map. So we see it all the way over here where we have the city park. Y'all have to remember the city park is a part of that 17%. So you automatically have to take the city park out because that's dedicated in perpetuity. Look at this big chunk down here. We have this up here, and then we also have these two pieces up here. I'm gonna flip back over to the single family map. So this is your single family density. Well, you already see in a lot of places where those R4 chunks are, you see a good majority of single family housing in there. So as you said, it does become an apple and oranges situation because those two are so different. My recommendation would be that if you look at that 17%, you automatically cut it in half for the understanding of what is currently within that 17% is y'all's city park, and it is already single family homes. So you're taking 17 and knocking that down to about 8.5
With option what?
with
That's the-
just in general.
Okay.
So option 3 would be the closest.
So option 3 would be the closest to what y'all currently have existing, yes, sir.
So that's really no change.
Yes, and that's where we get into what Cynthia was bringing up earlier. Yes.
Yeah, and I she's over there talking, but.
Okay, then,
Yes, sir.
can someone still buy lots in the mobile home districts and still build stick-built home if they want to?
If there's hard work.
In R4,
No, in the new,
and the new one, no.
so,
So
okay.
in the new one, they can only, if they buy a lot,
They only can put mobile home.
they can only put mobile homes
Okay.
on it. Yes, sir.
Okay.
So what that does and the reasoning behind why that is sometimes done this way, of course, it can be changed. We have other cities that do it differently, but the reason why that decision was made is instead of allowing what y'all do right now, where R4 can be used for single family or manufactured, well, one developer could come in, buy up all the lots, build single family, and you're wiping out your affordability percentage. Doing it this way ensures that you are making sure a portion of the city is required to be affordable. And you are requiring that that portion be used for affordable housing, if that makes sense. It sounds backwards because you're limiting what can be done. And typically when you think limiting, you're thinking less affordable. But in this mindset, you're keeping a developer from coming in there, getting the biggest buck off their bargain of going and building a stick-built home for 500, 600,000 and walking away. You're ensuring that there is a spot for a manufactured home down the line.
So, this chart.
Yes, sir.
Well, we have
Chart
to
showing
conditional on that.
For single family detached dwelling is conditional.
Okay.
That's where I.
No,
confuse
you're
things.
right. You're right. No, yes, I apologize. Yes, you're correct. I apologize. That's on me. I was looking at the row above that. I 100% apologize. So for a single family attached dwelling, it's conditional. You're correct. I apologize.
No,
Thank you for
No, that's
catching
fine, we just,
my mistake. So what that means is they would have to come to you to request that billing. So still you're keeping your affordability percentage. A developer isn't allowed to go in there, do whatever they want without any agreement. They would have to come to the city, say, hey, I want to build XYZ on X many lots. If that's one house on one lot or 10 on one lot, would y'all approve? And at that point, y'all have the right to approve or deny as long as it is in alignment with y'all's future land use map and in alignment with the goals set in the comprehensive plan.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yes, sorry,
Yeah.
I apologize. Thank you.
That's what it's.
Yeah, that's what.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
So if a person.
Mhm.
I'm not saying that I'm doing this, but I'm saying, if a person chooses option 2.
Yep.
What is the decreased availability of land space or lot space
will you be increasing it?
You hypothetically, you would be increasing it. So the current percentage of what is being used of your R4 is 4.3. Option 2 allows that 4.3 to go up to 5.8.
Okay.
Hypothetically.
How
And,
much of
and
that-
that, sorry, and that current number
Mhm.
that's currently being used, some of that is things that shouldn't even be there in the first place.
Yeah, so that's where it goes back to Cynthia's discussion of anything on this map with a red dot is what public management deemed unlivable. That doesn't mean people aren't living in it.
I'm sorry.
Yes, that doesn't mean people aren't living in it. People fall on hard times, things happen. But it means that those houses either need serious care and rehabilitation or that they need to be taken away and a new one placed on that property.
So if we increase, and help me if I'm ignorant, if we increase the land and lot space, there is a possibility in 20 years, as you say, that we could just increase that problem. We're allowing the land.
There's a give and take. So yes, there is the idea that you could cause that problem to continue for more deterioration of homes to continue. However, previously, before this lovely man was hired, there was no regulations within y'all zoning ordinance in regards to looks of homes or maintenance of homes.
I'm sorry, yes, there was.
Well, there wasn't to the
Yes, so
extent, yes.
we didn't have a full-time code officer.
Yes, there we go. I apologize.
So we have the regulations. I will tell
Being
you,
enforced.
what I will tell you is it takes and the staff has done a lot of work on it.
Mhm.
But it takes, a lot of time and energy and effort
Yes.
to do that. And when we say, I would challenge anybody to just sit around, and look at the condition of some of these homes. Many of them are unlivable, yet there's people living there.
Yes.
In 2013, we had about 250 that nobody lived in, just the vacant ones. And that number that are just vacant now is about the 125. So we've kind of about half, but as you get rid of some, you're starting to gain more in another neighborhood too. It happens.
Yeah.
So
and
trying
so-
to keep up.
Yeah, and so that's kind of what I was getting at of those regulations have to be in place first of all. Second of all, the city has to have the ability to enforce them. And then third of all, there has to be places and systems in place to enforce and to actually create change. And so the city over the past 5-10 years has been working for all those things. So the regulations were created, the code enforcement officer was hired, and now he's working through the process of enforcing those things and creating processes to get rid of houses that need to get rid of, or, whatever discussions with property owners to get properties cleaned up, things
If
like
you
that.
go, can you pull up the, so it's page
20.
20 on the comprehensive development plan?
That's where I was going.
Okay, again, this was presented to you guys. This is analysis of the housing type.
It's presented
This
to the
was
community.
on site.
The community saw this too.
Well, I know. I'm just saying, this has been presented and been vetted, but anyway, so right now, for example, standard single-family structure is about 48%, 1199. Deteriorated, single-family structure, 421 or 17%. Dilapidated single-family structure, there's 97 or 3.9%. And then standard manufactured home, there's 103 at 4.2%. There's deteriorated, which there's 74 at 3%, and then there's dilapidated at 24 at 1%. So you were looking for numbers. That's,
Yeah.
And
And then also, don't forget, she left out this vacant dilapidated manufactured home down at the
Yeah.
bottom, which is another 1.1%,
Right.
0.2 and 0.1%.
3%.
So hopefully that helps answer some of those questions. So
So what is option 3 and option 2? What is their percentage of manufactured?
9.73.
5.88 for option 2 and 9.73.
So that actually increases it from what we have
Yes,
from 9.3
yes, option.
to 9.7.
I'm sorry, what did you say?
Well, I was looking at, we got 9.3% right there, all that have to do with manufactured homes. And with option 3, you're actually,
One to 9.7.
yeah, you're going,
4%.
Right.
yeah, so option 2 would be a decrease in the manufactured home percentage.
Well, also,
So
please
5.8.
take into consideration, you're looking at two different sets of numbers.
Yeah.
So the numbers on the comprehensive plan, that's a dot density percentage. So out of all the dots we have, this is the percentage of dots that are in this condition versus this map that you're seeing here. These percentages are calculated by your area of land
Right.
divided
But
by
it's still
seven.
the same.
So that can change your.
Same percentage allotted for manufactured homes or what?
But, yeah, comparing apples, I mean, these three maps, I mean, and existing is 4.37, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, and that's the sum acreage. And so option 1, 2, and 3 analyze it by the sum acreage.
Yes.
So that is comparing apples to apples.
Yeah. Whenever you start to bring your dot density percentages in comparison to your acreage percentages, you start to have a lot of misconsistencies because most cities, you can have more than one manufactured home on a lot, or even if you can't, that's just how it has happened. Also depending on how your lot has been subdivided or how lots have been subdivided, you can end up with a manufactured home park that has 20 manufactured homes on one piece of property, or vice versa. You have multiple single family homes on one, or you have one manufactured home on a 20-acre property or one manufactured home on a 0.5-acre property. So trying to look at those two numbers side by side can really skew some things. But as Cynthia said, looking at the existing land use, this is all the same dots that you see here on this table for manufactured home, just by their acreage calculations. And then this is also by acreage calculation as well.
So we have 7,500 square foot minimum lot size for manufactured homes subdivision here on the
Yes,
two.
Yes, sir.
And so, do we have a number of, when you're talking acres, you're talking acreage here, so how many possible units do we have that could be broke down into?
That math has not been calculated.
Okay.
We can go that far if you would like us to.
I think we're missing a number. I think y'all need to calculate it. If it were me, I would say, okay, 17.3. I would cut it in half because you brought that number to the table and it would be 9.73 would be the closest number. I mean, that's the number you brought.
Okay.
So that would only make sense in my opinion.
So my question,
Well, some of it, I mean, just what I would say, I mean, we can calculate these numbers all day long.
yes.
So, I mean, I think. So I guess I'm not, what number is it that you guys are wanting?
They're wanting the half of 17.3, so they're
We're
wanting,
currently saying the 17% that's R4 now. And option 3 is about half of that, I believe is what you're saying, right? Right. Yeah.
But what you're not taking into consideration there is R4 also includes like the park. It includes, you know, I mean, you could also calculate it as in it's R4 is 17.
That's not
And-
missing. The one that has no park in it, the one that has no.
What's the number
Yeah.
hold of it?
The true number.
If you exit out.
so a true number, you wanna, I'm sorry, I'm confused. You're wanting a true number of R4 minus the park?
Probably minus the single family.
And, okay, that is this existing land use percentage right here, this 4.347. That is what has been in R4, what is it currently existing within the city limits that actually has a manufactured home on it, that doesn't have a single family home, that doesn't have the park, that isn't undeveloped, just what is being used for manufactured within the city limits.
4.34,
4.37.
37. I'm
No,
sorry.
347, thank you.
For
I'm sorry.
clarification, is that 88 acres? That is what is? That's the number, that's the actual number, that's your 4.3, it's the number to the right, is 88, that's that'd be square acres or acres. And then you can use that number to compare what the changes would be. And you can get an exact number of what currently is mobile home versus what would the area be allowed to be mobile homes.
No disrespect, since you know all that's what's the number. True number.
I actually didn't do that math, I was
Okay.
right here, but I pulled the calculator.
Well, you've done the math, but,
I'm pulling up the other version of this map to ensure that those are acres. Because the way our mapping software works, that could be a different mapping
Yeah.
interval.
Yeah, I was gonna say, that'd be a lot of acreage for Breckenridge.
Yeah.
Not really, when I mapped out using Google Maps and measuring just that northern section, it was 111 acres.
Yeah, that's about right.
No.
88 would be really close to be around. That's kind of-
Yeah, but ain't part of that, the where the baseball field, the softball field, and all that.
Well, then also, there's the wetlands, the flood zone over there by the treatment plant. All of that is.
Thing and then
Yeah.
be touchscreen, which provide.
I'd be around 85, 90 acres on, yeah.
But there's also some areas over by the baseball fields that were zoned for R4 that are totally out, either out of all the option 2 and option 3. Those have been eliminated and there are mobile homes in that area. So that trade-off, it's that number that you're looking for. It's that 17% versus minus the 9%. That's probably gonna be is it gonna be the same or is it gonna be vastly different?
I apologize, there's more.
And I would appreciate you,
Well,
or not.
Well, I guess my point and what I'm trying to communicate, I mean, there's, a cost benefit analysis is how much, math we're gonna do to try to figure out exact. So if you guys are comfortable with option 3, I mean, you guys are, or option 2, whatever that is, I think what she has done is she has narrowed it down to what is existing by some acreage, which is 4.37. The first option you looked at was 2.5%, second option was 5.8, goes up a little bit, not much, and then the third option is 9 point whatever it is. So,
I'm compassionate to what Mr. Taylor is saying. And I think some of the other commissioners are too. But hearing tonight that this is not really gonna see or take an effect, I'll probably be dead by then. Not that that matters, but for future residents, the decision we make on this can affect people in 20 years is important to me. And the reason for the comprehensive plan, because I was around then and was very in tune to what you and the city was doing, is to beautify Breckenridge. And when I say beautify Breckenridge, I'm not speaking that it's got to be a mansion, because I realize that there is a low number of people that can afford big, and I know there's a big number that's, I don't want to vote on something, or I know we're not doing no action on it. I don't want to agree to something that's going to create a larger problem in 20 years, is what I'm trying to say.
well,
It's nice to sit up here and say, we've got all these people that can only afford this kind of thing, and I get that. But do we want to increase? I don't run the city, but I would say, mister, get up there and clean all the red dots out, get them out, and what that percentage is, and they're gonna restore a bunch of where they can put existing mobile home instead of just adding more mess down the road for a person in that position. But that's just my 2 cents. What do I know?
and this is, so I hear what you're saying. What I would say, I mean, the city is absolutely wanting to provide diversity in housing. I mean, that is their
Yeah.
comprehensive development plan. The point of the whole zoning update, though, was to try to get like use with like uses. And so when we've mixed them for so many years, I mean, we're not gonna get that like use right away, right? And so it's just, all I'm trying to do is just, it's gonna take time. Now, if you wanted to extrapolate and say, okay, this is the state of the city right now, and in 20 years, they still have another option to put a new home on there, and hopefully they would keep it up, but, many times they don't, but even if they don't, it's still, a 20-year lifespan. Very
Yes.
conservative, it could be 30 years for, pretty decent. But I think if you look at those percentages right now on that chart, I mean, I think that that's a good extrapolation. Now, again, the city's also taking we're putting more resources to try to get people to clean up their property. And you will note that we have a lot of absentee homeowners, whether it's on the single family side or the mobile home side, manufactured home side. So, you know, if you go to that, I mean, the dilapidated is 3.9% for single family, you know, and those, whether it's single family or manufactured home, I mean, those are the ones where we put a lot of energy and effort cleaning up. And we'll continue to try to do that, but it does take resources. We could keep code busy with 3 full-time code officers. We don't have anybody to do that.
He wishes. He's like, please.
So what trouble right now is, when they have these tax sales, people from out of town come by these, they're not even from here. And he can't get answers from these people.
Yeah, I know several
They
people that
abandon
are looking at some properties right now, and they can't find them on the tax roll. And then and it ends up being a New Mexico person or a Dallas
They have like
person.
investor groups, they'll have one guy buy 8 or 10 homes out of the one auction, and they're junk.
Well, they're waiting on.
And then we can't get any compliance that way.
And then they're not even, you know, I don't even know why they're buying them, but yeah, they're not cleaning them up to sell them.
Legally, you can do something down the road, right? If they don't.
It takes a while
Yeah, but
to
it's a-
find
You
it.
have to, it takes a very long while to be able to do
All
that.
kinds of stuff.
Yeah, it takes court litigation.
You might see some people coming in on those auctions, just buying from out of town. They have no interest here.
You have to put
I have-
postings in the papers, you gotta notify that way.
I mean, the bottom line is we value private property rights. And so we don't, you know, step on private property rights lightly. And that's why we're going through this whole process with the comprehensive zone. So
So I found some numbers. Acreage of R4 is 471.4. So that's your 17%, right? So 471.4. Approximately 17, whatever the decimal
This
places
is
are.
currently.
That's your R4, so your current zoning.
Okay.
The existing land use, okay, now it went away. Proposed option 3, we're looking at that 9.7%, 202.5 acres,
what was it, 200 what?
202.5.
So that's even smaller than currently. Acre wise, right? Unless
Yes,
I'm in a
because your
challenge.
R4 is single family, the park,
Okay.
and
I made
your
my mind up.
and your thing, so that's your 17, we're looking at around 400 acres. Option 3 cuts that in half down to 202. To that 9 point something percent.
Cool.
So
What's option 2?
that's option 3, sorry. I can get that here in a second, if that's what y'all would like me to do, I can switch over to option 3. I was gonna do existing land use first, if y'all would like to see
So did,
what
was
the
that,
current acreage.
is that option 2 or that's
Three.
Yeah, that was
That was
about 3. So
That's
that's,
what I was concerned about. It's good, that's acreage and a half.
well, again, you're going from R4 allowing
Houses and mobile homes.
housing and mobile homes to just mobile homes. That was the reasoning behind the jump down, is we're, yeah,
But you can get a conditional permit to build a house on that mobile home lot, that gives you the option.
Yeah.
But about 225.5,
That's the number that.
that's still, you gotta take the park out, baseball
Right.
field, all that.
Yeah.
Northward, that whole section, that's a pretty big chunk right there, so. So that number's gonna get small after we take all that out.
so. This number might not be. In the map version that we have, that these numbers are being pulled from. Oh wait, it might not be. Your floodway is R4, I apologize. Right, am I correct with that? That would be the floodway that nothing can be built in. Well,
Well, yeah, it's got a lot.
some of it isn't, and the park does have some of that.
Is in that area.
It's an industrial. Yeah, it starts up here, correct?
Yeah.
And then it comes all the way down into
Right.
here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so you have some of the park, you have your FEMA floodplain, and you have those types of things down in here.
It showed us in 81 and 2016. They're underwater.
And which I don't know.
So, I mean, roughly, I mean, it's not exact, but if R4 is 17%
So,
and option 3 is 9%, then it is, yeah.
yeah, and then looking at the existing land use. This is, so your existing land use, that was that medium number, that 4.3%, what y'all currently have on the ground today. We're looking at about 88 acres of what is currently being used. The property is being used for manufactured purposes.
But you're still doubling the number that they can.
No, this is the existing. This
Yeah,
is what's
so
on the
You're
ground
still doubling that number with the option 3.
with option 3.
Yes,
Yes, sir,
yes, ma'am.
correct. I apologize. Yes.
So do we want to double?
And this is where option 2 comes into play.
Where's option 2?
Oh my gosh. Okay, one second.
I don't think we want to double.
You just click the option 2 button.
And option 1, no.
I'm just trying to, there's a part of me that's scared that those numbers are,
Oh,
yes, they're the right numbers. There's a part of me that's scared that the way GIS works is you have a legal acreage number and then you have your calculated acreage number. We try to go off the calculated acreage because depending on y'all's county's central appraisal district, y'all's legal acreage can be very funky. And while I have full heart in our GIS assistant who put this together, I don't want to give y'all the wrong numbers. So I'm double checking that everything is accurate.
Option 3 won't allow them to be scattered out in the city like they are now with on a 4, because they're scattered, they're all over the town the way they are now.
Still, option 3 is gonna do something for us. It's not.
Yeah.
Gonna put us out there like.
That's right.
It's
It's still gonna allow
fine.
people to put them.
It's gonna find it to a certain area, for sure. And then, of course, option 2 decreases that down even further, tightens it up.
So option 2. Getting it open.
Option 1 is absolutely small, so.
Then option 1 really cool.
Appreciate your patience with us.
No,
Just wanna make
this is
sure.
my job. This is why I come to these things. This is why I do what I do. I do not mind whatsoever. So manufactured, option 2. Hold on, that's not right. Yes, it is. What did I told y'all 202.
Yes.
For option 3. Thank you. Okay. Option 2, we're sitting at 5.9%, 122 acres.
And our population is
That's
currently
100%.
6,250 roughly. 9.
That probably adds about 50% to what
We
the
currently,
homes we have existing now.
Yes.
I'm just trying to help the numbers for y'all, because it's kind of confusing. We say this all the time. I'm just trying to help y'all understand it.
So that would, yes, you'd be adding 44, you'd be going from 88 acres to 122. So you're adding more acreage allowability to what's existing, but you are still limiting from that 17 what's allowed in the R4 currently. That we were discussing.
But it will eliminate them from being in the whole town down the road 20, 30 years from now. What,
Place a minute, sir.
okay, that was well understood.
20 years from now, they may be able to do it.
Is that the
Well,
numbers that y'all are
I think
asking
farther-
for? Is there any?
yeah,
Yeah.
but-
Yeah,
but-
I would
I'm
say-
bigger now. I want that a lot.
Okay.
To do.
More questions, comments, concerns?
And I know we're not making any definite decision tonight,
No, but I'd
but
kind
can
of
we
like
talk
to see
amongst
where,
ourselves and see where we're at, right?
yeah, I'd like to kind of see where you guys.
Okay, well, I'm gonna start off, I'm with option 2. That's giving more acreage than we currently have, but not gonna double it on option 3.
Do you guys feel, I mean, that helped you get
Yes,
those
what she
numbers?
just said,
Yeah,
did.
that makes a big difference.
I'm gonna use y'all as my
Let's talk about
experience for the rest of my,
And I think
That's
that's.
that you're accurate.
yes, I'm gonna use y'all as my, yeah.
But I don't think we've got any.
Yeah.
2 would be going to a higher number than and I would agree with option 2 as well.
And,
Definitely not option 1.
we can always, as well, if there's any concerns on accuracy, we can go back to the office. Of course, we'll be coming back in a month. And I can give y'all like the line item by line item breakdown, math breakdown sheet, so y'all can feel confident in the numbers that I gave y'all tonight. Or if there is any discrepancies, we can outline them before
Yeah,
y'all make a vote.
Please do so.
Anybody else? I'm going with option 2.
think
Well,
about.
I mean, it's not, you don't have to make the decision.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we're talking
Because we're already trying to figure out amongst ourselves, see where everybody wants to go.
With consideration that we have a month to make changes and if there is anything y'all really think needs to be done.
Well, if you're wrong drastically,
If
You probably need
I'm
to find another
drafting, y'all will be aware, I will share all of this. I will be out of the country next week.
I still.
Next
I still
month,
like-
you gotta come up with this.
Secondary. I'm still in favor of option 3. I know it's a real big area, but it covers somewhat the area where we're already have existing manufacturing and the density of them. I mean, it could be shrunk a little bit in some areas, but I mean, we're option 3.
I kind of replied in my email. I was, option 3 was kind of my choice.
Well, it kind of was to me until we decided on option 2, we're actually gonna gain more acres of that, so. I probably gonna push a little more towards option 2 myself.
I'd like to know what the numbers are, if they're accurate.
I'm pretty sure they're accurate, but I can show y'all the line by line
I think
breakdown.
that would help us a lot, decide between that option 2.
Okay. Let me-
Well, we can
But
definitely,
we can
we'll
make a decision
definitely get
outside.
those.
Yeah.
I'm not set in stone.
Yeah, so I can definitely get that. I'm gonna leave option 1, 2, and 3 mapping as it is. If y'all are happy with,
I don't like
How-
that at all.
okay, hey, that makes my job easier on that.
Well, I think we need to leave it on just because it wasn't the discussion. What'd you say, take it off?
Yeah, I don't like it.
No, he said there was.
I'm totally against one.
I don't think anybody's going for it.
But we can leave it for.
We can leave it for record keeping, yeah.
Yeah.
But we'll leave the way the map looks the same and we'll run the acreage calculations on the parcels and pieces of property within the city limits. And show y'all how that breaks out for each one.
But, you know, if you're having 7,500 square foot on your lot size for 1,200 square foot manufactured home. So every one of them will have to at least be a double wide manufactured home, to be able to reach those sizes, because a single wide home don't get to be that size.
And I do wanna make the comment now that, that is also part of tonight's discussion, is that packet in front of y'all with those numbers. I know it was given to y'all at the last meeting because Ms. Sutter ran back and made copies of all of them. But that is what what y'all are looking at for y'all's regulations for each of these properties.
And
So
cities-
those are also up for discussion and changing and things like that
No,
as well.
that's a good, the city's doing good on enforcing that too, from what
I didn't hear what you said, Eric.
I'm just saying that 7,500 square foot for a manufactured home. You know, most of these are gonna be, double wide manufactured homes for the square footage, minimum size that we have there. You won't be able, the single wide won't be sufficient, big enough to, meet this, what you have here.
So,
That's lot area, sir.
yeah, that's a lot area.
That's the lot area.
So
That's
that
how big the
means-
lot has to be.
So that means for
For 7,500 square foot,
Yes.
but the 12, but it had a 1,200 square foot on your manufactured home.
Yes.
Back here on the table here, 1,200 square foot.
yeah,
So that means it's all gonna be,
with,
for the most part,
within your
double wide,
living.
unless it's just like some ginormous single wide somewhere.
Mhm.
So there'll be double wide manufactured homes on 7,500 square foot lots. And then whatever acres we're getting, you know, depending on how many lots you can have, what density you're gonna have of those manufactured home inside that area of the that's for M4. And so whatever lot, if they come in there and there's existing lots, and like some of the areas there in the South Ward, I mean, they're just 25-foot lots, those are gonna all have to be replatted and fit the size that they're gonna have to be, if, you know, as they come in. And existing structures too, they could be the same thing, I think that they'll have to get the permits and such, they'll still have to do the replatting.
I will say that if we run those numbers, there is one small discrepancy. So the way you would typically run that map is you would take that 202, 122, 88, you know, those numbers I gave you for acres. You divide it by that 7,500, you would think one manufactured home per property. That is accurate, that is how you can get that number, yes. However, the way y'all's ordinance is written is for manufactured homes and for manufactured home subdivisions. So what that means is the minimum lot size is 7,500 square feet, but they could put multiple so if you had a 3-acre piece of property, you could put multiple manufactured homes on that piece of property closer together than a 7,500 square foot lot. Does that make sense?
They just gotta meet
They
the
still
fire.
have to meet fire codes, they still have to meet setback requirements, they still have to meet code enforcement requirements. But that's where you get a little bit of gray area of, it's not necessarily always
Manufactured home park.
yes.
Yeah, that would have to be a park.
It could be like a gated type deal.
I know.
That's
that-
what the ordinance is currently with, is that they can allow.
Will that be allowed within that same district, or that maybe
Yes.
that wouldn't be allowed?
That's how it's currently,
One
again,
approval from the city.
all of this is how it's currently written in the text. That's how it's currently written. These things can be changed, edited, adjusted to where, nope, we're just doing 7,500. And it's just square manufactured home properties, the same way you would a single family home.
That's how I was looking.
The way it's currently written, to my understanding, it sounds like y'all are in agreement with me from the way y'all read it, is it is for manufactured home subdivisions as well, meaning that they could go in and take, one piece of property.
A developer probably come in and submit his.
Well,
Right.
there's an area up in the north in that was,
Yes, on Seventh Street.
Seventh Street.
that was.
Is that where Mr. Short is on?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Yes.
So, but
He's trying to give that away, by the way, if anybody's listening that wants it,
what's that?
he's wanting to give it, hey,
But,
That's basically development there,
yeah.
it was, and the
Yeah.
two wool derricks or something right in the middle of it, right?
So I'm just saying, we can run that number. I just want us to all understand that the way it's currently written, there is some gray space that could come into that. We can run that calculation, we will run that calculation, but
That's what I was looking, that's what I was looking at, like, okay, what kind of
Yeah.
homes we're gonna have, what's the density of these manufactured homes we're gonna have on this acreage?
yeah, the best way to do that is take the
You think
202
square foot
and divide by
big
70.
For a mobile home? Cause currently we have what, for a 3 bedroom, it's
980.
980.
Yeah, I mean, we got 1,200 on here, so you're gonna eliminate all the single wides, period.
Pretty much.
Yeah, you're gonna be all double wide manufactured homes, there's gonna be BDs.
And that might be,
I don't think that's a bad thing, but I mean, you're not, single wide homes they'd be better fit if you had a development or park designed just for those kind of situations.
How many single wides have gone into, place in the last 6 months?
Oh, probably, in the last year, we probably had 10 or 12, and probably 6 of each, doubles and single.
I think I've seen more single wides that,
Well, they're so much cheaper to move, double wide's 15,000, 20 to move and set up, single wide 5,000.
Well, that guy keeps telling that outfit on industrial, that's what they
And how
do.
does this work with the tiny homes? And those are not, how does that?
That was in there for a conditional too, wasn't it?
That's conditional?
Look at the chart.
Yeah, I don't remember about the tiny homes, but I think that was conditional as well.
Because
Those may be the thing in the future though.
yeah, well, they should have their own little area too, I would think. But I
There's,
don't know.
some of our cities have done that.
That's beyond my education.
We copied our version of that from Big Spring probably 12, 13 years ago.
Currently now, how does that set for those small, we had that happen to us like 3 meetings ago.
You gotta have a
You gotta-
additional permit in R4.
Yeah.
Or it's.
Okay,
Anything, it
so
could be anywhere.
Only in
Yeah,
R4.
Only in the store.
according to this table from y'all's comprehensive plan, I'm showing 236 manufactured homes. If you run the numbers for option 2, which is 122 acres divided by 7,500 square feet, we're looking at 708 possible pieces of property. So
That also
we're-
includes the roads and stuff too.
yes, sir, that does also include.
So you guys say you're gonna take a good chunk of that number out of that. You're welcome.
So, but you're looking at
Buy 2 or 3
3
lots,
times.
that way they don't have somebody right there beside them. You know that. I'm
I know,
sure.
yeah.
So you're looking at option 2 with the discrepancy of road acreage coming into play, tripling, somewhere around double to triple, your number of manufactured homes with the city. And again, that's if it's 700 square foot lots and not somebody subdividing 3 acres and putting multiple on that lot. Any other comments, questions? So the other thing before next week that I highly recommend y'all look at is this packet I gave y'all.
So,
Specifically pages 22, where we look at the actual land use regulations, your height, your setback, all those lovely pieces of information, because this is what is really gonna be used on a day-to-day basis are these numbers. in accordance with starting on page 26, these land use tables, there's 11 or 12 of them, I believe. It is this through page 26 through the back of the packet. All of these are also gonna be what gets used every day. So your P is your permitted. So that means if they're within that district, they are allowed to do that day in, day out. They don't have to get any approval. However, if they have a C in that box, that means they have to come forward for a conditional use permit. If they have nothing in that box, that means it is not allowed within the city limits. Or within that area. I will say that there might be some that y'all get a little bit like, why are we allowing so much of that? Some of them are regulated by state. When you think of churches, group homes, things like that, the city doesn't have as much regulation on those. They have to go through the state regulations and policies. But yeah, so I really highly recommend either y'all look at those now and ask me any questions if y'all have them. Y'all review them in the coming week. You send them back to Cynthia.
Yeah, if you have, so let me interject here. If you have additional questions, please do not reply all. If I send an email to you, send me an email and I'll be getting with her on that.
So you can easily mark these up. Cynthia also has the digital version of all this, so you can mark them up, send them back to her, and we will take those edits into consideration. And if it's something that's unanimous across the board, we can either make that edit, or it will be something that I bring up at the next meeting as a member of the group chose this. Is everybody in agreement before we move forward and making a decision tonight for proposal to council? Yes, sir.
P equals again.
Permitted. And all of those rules are on page 24. It explains all that. There's also a C for temporary uses for things like carnivals and stuff like that, where you would allow it for a temporary time, but not any. Is there any other questions, comments, concerns? My game plan from tonight is all those numbers that I just gave to y'all. We're gonna go back, put in an Excel sheet, show it to, share it out with y'all as soon as possible, as soon as we can get those numbers ran back in the office. That way y'all can have them, look at them, and then we'll be back next month on the 2nd to make a decision to give to council on the 3rd. Anything else that I can assist with, or any other questions?
In that, so it didn't waste your time, and you have to do something else. In the acreage, in the next thing, you may already gonna be good, the lot size, you're gonna take in consideration what can actually be built there. Cause when you just say raw acreage, that's how I'm making my decision, but
Manufactured homes, or would you
Yeah.
like me to do that of all properties?
like option 1, 2, 3,
Option 1, 2, 3, yeah.
just make sure you're exact on those numbers.
Yes,
How hard would it be for you to tell us how many lots are being used?
that's not hard at all.
As for manufactured homes now?
Currently,
And
no.
how many option 2 would give us and how many option 3 would give us?
So right now, I can tell you the number of lots that are currently being used. I would
Well,
have
you
to,
have it right there.
Properties.
yeah,
Yes.
so.
Versus how many we're gonna have? for
Yeah.
Option 2 and 3.
So that's where it gets into that, what he was asking for, we're gonna take that 100 and, we did 122 acres divided by 7,500 square feet, and that gave us 708 units. 708 manufactured homes would be allowed. Right now, I did the math, adding up what is on this table right here, and the city has 236 manufactured homes.
And what is that 700 one?
Huh?
What?
The 700 would be choice 2.
Okay.
So that would be option 2, the 122 acres divided by 7,500 square feet. That would give you 708 parcels. With the caveat of, that's raw acreage, so you do have to take in consideration, your streets are gonna take up some of that as well. So you're probably looking more at about 500, but, that's still doubling that 236 that you see right here. And if you take that 236, divide those vacant ones at the bottom, that's 200 versus 500.
That's still option.
How do you get 236?
236 is you add 103, 74, 24, 2, 5, and 28.
2, 5, and 28.
At the bottom.
Number of
Vacant.
Probably calculator. It's one thing my generation's good at. So,
They used to tell me in school I wouldn't have a calculator on. Yeah, that's why.
Well, they were a little, low. But, so yeah, so you're looking at approximately 236 units as of 2021-2022, when this data was collected. To, if you went with option 2, that'd be 708 units. Minus, let's say, a differential of around 200 for streets. And that'd leave you at about 500. So you're doubling that 236 to 500 for allowance of manufactured homes within the city limits.
It's clear for me.
Maybe, yes.
Once you get the real numbers, we'll find out.
Yeah, that's the.
Any other questions on this?
Oh,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah.
Can I get a motion to adjourn?
Sure, I did.
Motion to adjourn.
It's fun.
Goes to fun.
I'll make a motion.
Better.
Second.
All in favor? Okay, we're gonna close out at whatever time it is.
This mouse works perfect any other time. Wow, this mouse. Okay.